Welcome to the Funny Guy Timmy podcast, where I, Funny Guy Timmy, interview interesting people in show business, where I ask them interesting questions about acting, comedy, writing, and voice acting. Warning, this show may contain language and some offensive material. Today's guest is comedian and actor Luke McClory. I wanted to get your opinion on, it's a big topic that's going on nowadays, and you're probably one of the best people. It would be... now, I know what the kids are calling it these days, but it's basically science and atheism versus religion and faith, but they call it, Batman v Superman. Do you get where I'm going with this?
What do I think of the movie?
No. Well, yeah, but it occurred to me that that's a sub-level, that's almost what's being played.
Well, I didn't think of that as an analogy for the conflict. It would explain some hostility towards Superman. I've noticed
how people want Batman to really beat Superman.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of things would really have to go his way in order to in order to win that fight. But I mean, to build a whole movie around them fighting, I was like, okay, you got. I mean, it's supposed to be like heroic guys. Don't they eventually can't they just figure out it's like, oh wait, we're on the same side.
Can we just get along?
Yeah, let's just hey, why don't I figure out Lex Luthor's plan for you and you go swoop up the Joker for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'll fight his money.
Yeah.
And you can fight just that lunatic.
Yeah. But no, it's just a battle between two sad-looking guys. I sort of understand Batman not smiling in the trailer.
It's his thing.
But Superman is all like, no, I'm not happy either.
I'm guessing that there's got to be something really, really bad go on. In the comic books, it's basically they just go at each other for the sheer sake of it.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Batman is, and I'm just gonna say this not because I want heat on this, but Batman has actually never truly beat Superman.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been like a draw, or it's been like a faked out victory, like the Batman Returns, or the Dark Knight Returns.
Mm-hmm.
That one, he technically beats him, even though Superman was pulling his punches. He used kryptonite, and then he fakes his death at the end. Spoiler alert. Which, by the way, they said this movie is not technically based after that. They're taking some things, but it's not. It's going to be different.
It's sort of like. What you're saying is it's sort of like if after the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight, if Pacquiao had faked his own death.
Just so he gets an honorable belt.
And then people had claimed that he had won.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That would be perfect. It's perfect. But I was thinking about this and I was like, I think not that this is actually what's going on, but it really feels like, because Batman is money, he's the world. During the day, he's a billionaire philanthropist, he's playboy, women in and out his doors kind of thing. And then by night, he's just anger and vengeance. And, he's always about, basically he's very selfish in many ways. He's doing this because his family was killed and he blames it on the streets of Gotham. And, he can't bring them back, but he will, make it better so there would be no more kids like him. And Superman, he was sent here as, this god figure to show people, how to be better, by his father who talks to him through, even though he's just a mythical, magical face floating, he just talks to him on his Mount Olympus. And people, there's and it even shows in this movie that there's apparently some people that worship him. Like you see those guys with the Superman thing on their arm, they're like a SWAT team with Superman thing, and they just bow to him. And I'm thinking that that's kind of what they're going to play with him, is the more the God figure kind of thing, the Jesus analogy. What do you think? Does that thing with Superman bother you?
I mean,
it does kind of bug me.
I think people have tried it before. Frankly, the metaphor is not as sound as the Moses metaphor. Because of putting the basket in the river has more of a similarity to the rocket ship to Earth kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that Superman is also more or less human in terms of temperament. He's just a really good guy, but he's still not perfect.
Yeah. Moses also had superpowers. He could bring down, bring frogs to the city. I mean, it's not the same as Heat Vision, but yeah, it's close.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought of Superman as just sort of the idealized form of Americanism.
Yeah.
Which is why I included in the in the credo in the 50s and stuff, truth, justice, and the American way.
Yeah.
And I think the kind of break away from Superman is probably partially motivated by a wish to break away from Americanism, of portraying a positive vision of America. It's more popular now to kind of be more subversive
to America,
towards America. Yeah. And and that's why you have more comic book heroes that are victims of the system.
Yeah. Now, yeah, I think that's why ones that are hunted by the law and now respected by the law are gaining more popularity, like X-Men, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Ones that are not. Also Hulk.
But people forget in the early years of the X-Men, they actually worked with the FBI. They were sanctioned by the government.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
forgot that. Very, very early. Very early.
Yeah.
Oh, this is actually something funny. I found out that there's this is totally off topic. This is just there's actually an X-Men character who's apparently been there the whole time. His one superpower is that people forget that he's there. He has a power.
This is a bit?
No, this is not a bit. There's actually. I wish this was a bit. I wish I came up with this. But there's an actual X-Men character that's known about, but he's not seen. They have the art of him and stuff like that. I think he's in one comic or something, but apparently he's been there from the beginning, from the very beginning. But his power is that people forget about him, and so they have no idea who he is. And I'm like, that's got to be the worst. I would rather have the power where you can tell what power level the other guy has. I'd rather have that as my power than the ability to just be forgotten.
Is his code name Date Rapist? Just
Rupee? His name's Rupee? Yeah. Actually, his name is Forget-Me-Not, if I remember correctly. But then he just gets forgotten. I think it's the silliest thing.
Yeah, I don't know how well that could be applied. I mean, they did have a character for a while named Cypher, whose power was that he could translate languages.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thrill to the adventures of
no.
human translator.
It's we have Google now, right?
Yeah.
You don't even need me.
No. I know.
He's no, because we might lose signal. You need to come along.
They mercifully and very well foresightedly killed him in the early 90s, I think, and never brought him back.
It's we're writing some more episodes. What is that? The internet. Let's kill him. Let's just kill him right now. Let's just bomb, shoot, knife, whatever, hang him.
Yeah.
He's got to go. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the next X-Men movie, he's in the credits, but he's not on. They just name some actor. They just put him in the credits. He's Tom
Cruise as.
Actually, what I would do is if they're re-releasing any of the X-Men, I would put him in every single one of the credits. And then just name an actor who played Forget-Me-Not every single time. And people are like, I have not. Maybe it's in the special deleted scenes. They're like, no, he was there. You didn't see him? You didn't see him?
Yeah, and then dumb people start pointing out dudes in the background.
Yeah. And then he gets his own web page.
Yeah, it's that kid playing basketball when the Blackbird comes out.
And then when they remaster it, they delete the kid playing basketball. They're like, I knew it, and then just everyone flips out and loses their mind. I would totally do stuff like that. That'd be so much fun. There was one more thing. Back to the comedy. I don't remember what it was. Now you do a lot of writing. There was some stuff that I've seen. You write for other people, or write for shows?
No. Well, actually, sorry, I do. I've been writing for the last few months for a show called The Last Saturday Show. It's a sort of monthly talk show format where we go over the events of the last month. And do various takes on them. We do monologue jokes, we do sketches and stuff. So I've been writing, and actually for the last couple months I've been hosting. The next one is going to be in 2 weeks.
Where is it?
It's going to be at Mr. Tramp's.
Okay, yes, it is the one I think about.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice, awesome. I'd always been wanting to put together a show at Mr. Tramp's just because Alfredo's basically he's been asking me to put together some stuff, which is
Mhm.
why I've been coming up with like the prop shop and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't know if you could put together a show. And then someone was like, oh, they do that here. And
Mhm.
I'm like, how? Like they have extra stages they bring out.
Yeah.
They change up all the chairs. Everything gets changed. It's got episodes online. Do you just look up Last Saturday? Is that what it is?
I don't know if the shows are officially up online just yet. I know that they've been going through an editing process, and frankly, the initial approaches have been sort of trial runs of the show because many of us have never done this kind of format before.
Yeah.
So the first few shows, every now and again, there's been a technical issue of some kind or other, or the sketches haven't performed as well as we might have thought, or the monologue jokes weren't as sharp, or
that happens all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all shooting from multiple camera angles, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's an easy fix.
For the most part, when the sound goes out, that's another thing.
Oh man, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had stuff like that happen when I record like my shows and it's like a long show. There'll always be something. So you're hosting the next one.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Okay. And that's going to be what date?
That's going to be 2 Saturdays from now, which I don't recall the date that falls on, but it's should be the last Saturday in May.
Okay. And it's at Mr. Tramp's. And that's on Research Boulevard?
Yes.
Yes, it's on Research Boulevard. So y'all can go look that up. And what time do y'all normally record? Was it like 10 o'clock?
No, we record at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Got it. And are there any special guests that you know are going to be there? That
I don't know for sure. We're still looking at guests for this month.
Okay.
And yeah, but even with with any guest, it's still a fun show and it's still a good time for people that come.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more fun live. Regardless of what happens. When you're watching on YouTube, it's different. You're in your house. You might not be wearing pants. Like it's a completely different environment. But when it's live, it's always gonna be good. Do you have any other shows coming up that you know of?
Well, I'm regularly the MC of the show Weird True Hollywood Tales, which is on the third Sunday of every other month. So the next one will be on the third Saturday of June. We're going to be doing British punk.
Like music?
Yeah, the whole concept of Weird True Hollywood Tales is comedians presenting biographies of celebrities that usually died under extremely effed up circumstances.
Okay. Plane crashes, dying on the toilet.
Yeah, and generally led extremely odd but interesting lives, and we sort of take the opportunity to kick them while they're down.
It's like a roasting the dead.
Right.
You're roasting the dead.
Yeah, and it
very respectable.
Yeah, and it allows us to kind of go across a lot of different genres. Like this last month, we did biographies of boxers. We had Chris Cubis doing a biography of Jack Johnson. I did a biography of Sonny Liston, and the creator and usual headliner of the show, LaShonda Lester, did Mike Tyson. So yeah, so it's always a great show, and I enjoyed doing that one.
Good, well, good. How did you get the? Because I know we kind of grazed over this. How did you get the Road Hard bit?
Well, that was interesting. It was a crowdfunded movie. And like any sort of Kickstarter or anything, and it has different rewards and stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
One of the things was the ability to submit for a stand-up contest. Basically, you submit 2 minutes of stand-up, you put it on YouTube, tag Road Hard in it, and then they said that Adam himself will pick 3 people to be in the movie, and then 20 additional people will be like on the special features of the DVD and stuff.
Nice.
And so I posted mine, and I ended up being one of the 3 that got called to do it. So I went out to L.A. and shot my 7 minutes at Flappers.
At Flappers.
Yeah.
I thought you said your 7-minute Flappers.
No.
Like you literally like had the dress with the frills.
No, that was for the after party.
That's on the special features.
Yeah.
That's on special features.
Yeah. And yeah, it was great. It was great meeting everybody. Corolla was also directing it, so got to meet and talk with him, and meet and talk with David Allen Greer.
Yeah.
He was great. He kept asking me like who my comedic inspirations are.
He's hoping you were going to say him, right?
Well, no, he was before I would answer, he would name all these Def Jam comics. Just
and you just agreed, right? You just
Yeah.
agreed? Yeah. Who who were your comedy inspirations?
Well, I mean, I actually like Corolla a lot, even though he's not particularly stand-up. I sort of like his. He's really one of the best at thinking on his feet in the business, and I like Norm Macdonald a lot as a stand-up.
He's got such a great delivery.
Yeah, it's very very much a unique style.
It comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
that's what I love. Like sometimes you'll like he has to have that pause afterwards because it might come out of nowhere and you're like, oh, that was, and then you get it, and it's gold.
Yeah.
Who else would you say? Who do you, when you look to people, like what would they do? Who are the people? Let's say three, or let's do your Mount Rushmore of comedy. Who's your Mount Rushmore of comedy?
I don't know. I really like some of the old guys. Like, have you heard of George Gobel?
Probably have. I've probably seen him, but I don't know his name.
He's had this incredibly funny delivery. I mean, almost sort of a Norm Macdonald style delivery, I would say.
Okay.
In fact, I often wonder if he was actually inspired by George Gobel at all, because I know that he's a big fan of like the old comedians. Yeah. So I like him a lot. And back before the unpleasantness, I used to really enjoy Bill Cosby. It's hard to look at it the same way now, but
yeah.
But I would have said that generally before. I don't know about now, but I would have definitely.
You don't know if you can out loud.
Yeah.
With this being documented.
Yeah.
For every internet person to.
I mean, I'm just thinking not only for what's out there now, but what could be out there
later.
Yeah.
Like even more comes out of the woodwork.
Yeah, it turns out I don't know. It turns out he's been collaborating with Eastern European fascists or something.
Or he's the one that gave Korea the Sony codes.
Yeah.
Like he just went, I'm just gonna put the thing in the USB port, and then they just crash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could have been him.
Yep.
Could have been him. And then it's like it's game on, basically. All right. Not him. So
well, I mean, other than that, I don't really know. I'm actually not that great a student of comedy. Like as far as early on, I thought, well, I don't want to. As I'm still forming, I don't want to unconsciously imitate too many people, or to measure myself up against people that have been doing it for a long time, and
right.
And so I tried to avoid too much of that.
I would have to agree. Me coming to Austin, out of the gate, people were telling me that I was very much the Austin Louis C.K. The way I was doing my comedy, the type of one-man show, over the top, voices,
very tight
analogy.
Black T-shirts.
Yeah. I was wearing a lot of polos, so so people compared me to that a lot, which at first was flattering, but then as I thought about it, it wasn't, because then it was just like that's who they're not thinking of me when they see my comedy. They're thinking of this already existing comedian. So I really had to change up what I was doing. My Mount Rushmore would probably be Brian Regan.
I do like him, yeah.
It would probably be Seinfeld, because he has a lot of the true stories, analysis of real life, which I do that a lot. Frank Caliendo, even though he's lower on my list because I haven't seen it. He's dead as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what he's probably dead. He probably died.
I think he's probably doing regular work in Vegas, and that's what.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. And then I would actually put Louis C.K. on the list, even though I like his more recent stuff because he's really cleaned it up. He's like,
You mean like that child molestation thing?
Yeah.
You really like that one?
Yeah, exactly. He's really kind of like I don't enjoy blue comedy. It really is it's like feet for me. It's just a turnoff. Like I don't enjoy it. Because it really, and I don't mean cursing. That's different.
Yeah.
It's really it almost feels like cheating to me. And
Well,
I know a lot of people say there's like two groups of people. One people that say that it is, one people say that it isn't. And I'm more on the side that says that it is from what I've observed.
Well, my judgment on that is kind of that any sort of like profanity or like blue stuff, it's a spice. It's not the dish.
Yeah.
So
there has to be still sustenance.
There has to be like a real dish underneath, and maybe it will make it like that much better if you're into spicy food. Maybe not everybody is, and that's fine. And maybe some people like, and that's great. But if you're just eating pepper, then it's not good.
Yeah.
And that's not a real joke. Then it's just completely, without substance.
Yeah, it is.
So that's how I guess I justify allowing myself to enjoy stuff like that, even though I don't participate in it myself.
Right. And that is one thing that a lot of our listeners, if there's still any still listening to this now, they might have left. Who knows? That you do clean comedy. Now, there's not that many clean comedians in Austin, Texas. And what I mean by that is people that don't curse, they don't bring up provocative topics. And that's you're actually one of the people that I kind of look up to. I don't know if I've told you that as far as the fact that you have held your own in the Austin, Texas scene that is full of basically just frat college guys talking about everything.
Well, I mean, do you mean the audiences or the comics?
I mean the comics and the audience.
Well, I don't. I would say that's too broad a brush for
slapping too many faces.
Well, I mean, like, and in fact, I would have a hard time coming up with too many examples of the sort of like frat mentality, especially among the successful comedians in town. I do feel like it's a far more diverse group than that. I distinguish myself a little bit because of my approach to life in general and the sort of trying to not be terribly offensive and stuff.
Yeah.
Ramin Nazer, he's got this great joke about clean comedy. It's like people say that clean comedy is better, but to me, it's like when the office orders lunch for everybody, and they're like, "Hey, we're getting pizza today," and you're like, "Yay!" And they say, "But it's all cheese so that everybody can enjoy it." No.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and it's I think the different styles kind of complement each other in this scene. It just adds to the diversity of the scene.
The sorbet of comedy.
Right. I mean, I don't really know what that word means, but not a food guy.
The all-you-can-eat buffet.
Even though I just made an extensive food metaphor regarding clean versus
I don't even know if I
dirty
used
comedy.
sorbet correct. I don't know. It was just the first word that came.
Yeah, wasn't he that guy that played Hercules?
There's gonna be someone in the comments going, "Oh, it's a sorbet, it's not right."
Yeah.
So a raging keyboard avenger.
A lot
comes
of
in.
foodies in the comic community, I noticed. Like, this is so odd to me. People care that. It's odd to me that people care that much about food in general.
Or numbers or math. Ugh, nerds.
I mean,
the worst.
At least numbers have a lot of practical society building applications, but I feel like people just focus way too much on like food and being like, ooh, you like P. Terry's? Ooh, well, I like In and Out.
Yeah. Now, you've done some shows that are more adult, right? I mean, you did Dirty Bits. It's not
Naughty Bits.
Naughty Bits. It's not technically you in a more adult way, but it's a more adult show.
Well, I mean, the show is mainly, at least the premise as they explained it to me was more about relationships and relationship history, and then you put your history out there. You dress it up comedically, and then
they dog you.
The two hosts, Katie Stone and Ella Gale, give you like advice on what to do, what to correct, and stuff. And it's all funny and fun and games there. I suspect that it tends to go more towards the blue route because of most people that are going on there.
But you would have no idea because it's just going over your head.
Yeah. So yeah, for them, I'm sure it goes a little bit more towards the naughty side, but but it's not necessarily a requirement. It certainly wasn't that when I did the show there.
Oh, good. There was actually a show I did not too long ago, and it was a corporate event. Now I do a lot of comedy, but I don't post it very often because it's private events. I can't really promote it. Hey, come down to this family's house and enjoy this person's birthday. I can't do that. That's mostly the stuff that I do, which I get booked well. And it was a corporate event. Now, when I think corporate event, I'm thinking clean comedy, which is what I prepared. I prepared like a full hour of clean comedy and some little jabs here or there. And then I realized there was like a little table that was just all women.
Yeah.
And they were drinking all night. Another thing I wasn't ready for.
Yeah.
And then I realized that's not the show they're wanting at all. And it like.
So that's when the shirt came off.
That's when it just just the pole was. I mean, I'm short, so the pole was tall enough.
Yeah. I used the mailbox.
It went crazy. But do you find yourself in any kind of situation like that? Do you do shows outside of like the Valve or that kind of stuff regularly?
Well, mostly only every now and again. I get booked and do some bar in Copper's Cove and other such places. And I mean, we once did that gig at the church.
Yes.
What do you call that room?
The auditorium. The gymnasium?
That's very generous. No, not that one. It was the one.
That one.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. The I'm just gonna call
out there in the sticks there.
The lunch area, the break room.
Right.
Break room, size of a break room.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very much takes all kinds as far as the venues go.
Yeah.
I find most of the time I don't have that big a problem just doing my regular set.
Yeah.
There. But most of the time, I think people don't really look at me and expect a lot of dirty material, so I think that helps too.
It could also be with the clean shaven, the hair, the tie, the suit, the way you hold yourself. That could be it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I come in wearing just about anything, so anything goes. So I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, I do think that there's some value in kind of presenting to the audience as quickly as possible what kind of personality is being projected on there, and you can do that very easily a lot of the time with how you dress and how you groom yourself.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Do you find it's easy to practice your jokes in a bar?
It's useful in its way.
Yeah.
Just because circumstances won't always be ideal.
Right.
So you need to go under some trial. You need to be outside of the most comfortable bubble, I suppose, is in front of your bathroom mirror. But then beyond that, having a really nice warmed up audience. I guess as much pressure as it is at Funniest Person in Austin, it's still once you get up there and in the rhythm, it's one of the easier times you'll have getting a really nice, soft, open to persuasion audience to laugh for you.
Do you find it easier to perform for the large groups or small groups?
Larger groups. Yeah. I mean, the most I've ever done, I think, is close to 500.
Nice. Where was that?
That was a gig that I did in sort of the Round Rock area.
Okay.
Yeah. And with the larger groups, at least I think there's just more room for error. Like almost no joke gets 100% of the people going, but
right.
And I'd like to think that a lot of my jokes are high percentage, but if you have...
But you have no rating system. You would have no...
If you have like 6 or 7 people in the audience, then luck of the draw could mean that, some of your jokes just aren't...
0, 0, 0, 1.
And then you build a lot of negative momentum to to have to.
And then the
dig
binge eating happens, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would I'd have to agree. I actually had a show in Round Rock too. It was a pretty large crowd. I did about 25 minutes.
Hmm.
It was a good crowd, and it was a large group. You know, and yeah, the larger the group, the bigger the percentage of your jokes that are gonna fly, and you're gonna feel better. You're gonna have more energy on stage, and I think that's one of the reasons that it is easier.
I also think
If you've been doing this for a while, if you're new
yeah.
and you have no idea where you stand on the bar, it's terrifying.
I also think there's some peer influence among the audience as well. Like if enough people are laughing, it kind of influences the rest of the audience to laugh. Right. And it's harder to get that going with a smaller group.
If your best friend laughs, you're like, oh, I need to stay cool.
Yeah.
Whoever that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you feel like you get people's attention? When you do, like, let's say Love Goat. Do you do Love Goat?
I've actually never done that one.
Oh, you haven't done that one? Okay. What's one of the smaller rooms? Now, we're not bashing any of these open mics.
Uh-huh.
Every open mic, is good for a different reason.
Yeah.
And I actually have them. I rate the open mics too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. This makes me sound really weird, but I also rate them, and each one of them has like a thing that they're for, for me.
Yeah. Like
what kind of like one-liners? Like there would be like a venue for one-liners. It'd be a venue for stories. It'd be a venue for impressions. Like I keep track of this kind of stuff, which again makes me sound weird. But which one's for you? Like what's that for you?
Well, do you mean which are the like how do I rate them, or what is my
what's a small room that you feel like you do well in, like a small group, small number?
Well, I'm very partial to Kick Butt Coffee on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Partly, I think it was the first open mic I did in Austin when I came back from LA. So I have a sentimental attachment to it that way. But then there's always at least 3 or 4 non-comics audience members who are paying attention, and that's nice to have. And it's fairly convenient logistically to get to and be at, and so I like it well enough. I don't think I would ever go into as intricate a rating system for any. I just sort of have I like doing that one. I don't like doing that one. Or I'll try that one again.
That feels comfy.
Yeah. Or I'm open tonight. What's going on? It's not like there's a huge selection each and every night.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try not to
favorite.
Well, yeah, and I try not to lock in the idea of this crowd will never respond to this kind of joke or something like that, just because like I said, it's helpful to try even under unfavorable circumstances. Right. Because you might learn something.
And I have actually. There's actually a couple people that do church comedy that I know, and they do exclusively church comedy. They don't do bars or anything. And I'm not bashing them. I'm not I don't want to say that I am better than them, but there was a show that I did with a couple of these people, and one of them actually multiple times. I was getting more laughs than they were because it wasn't a scene that they're used to. They're used to that church scene, that church comedy.
Right.
And I've done it all. Like I've done all of them. Not well.
Yeah.
It hasn't all been great, but it did make me more flexible, being thrown in all kinds of different different scenes in Austin, Texas. Basically every room is completely. It's almost like a different world, a different country with a different language.
It is. Yeah.
And it does make you better over time. It
But right. you just begin to notice things that you didn't before about what makes different people different
right.
amongst different crowds, and what appeals to them, not just subject matter, but tonally and
right.
Your
These people don't like people screaming at them.
Yeah.
These people don't like long-winded jokes. These people do you feel like you have jokes to fit almost every situation, like a good 5 minutes for almost every situation?
Well, I don't know. I once did very, very early in my career. I once did in Los Angeles some stuff at the Comedy Store. They were doing the Gong Show.
Oh yeah.
And they just this was like after the open mic, and they just found me on the the sidewalk outside and asked if I'm a comic, and fortunately I was quick thinking enough to say yes. And they said, "You want to do the Gong Show?" I was like, "Okay." And like, so do your time. You'll do like a few minutes and see if your celebrity judges will gong you if they're done. At the time, I think I only had 3 minutes of usable stuff, and I had my most successful thing was a thing about Sean Connery, about how he's like such a great actor because he never does another accent for different nationalities that he plays. And
I'm captain of this German submarine.
And what I didn't realize is that Monday nights at the Comedy Store the crowds tend to be dominated by a predominantly African American group who are, as in general, not as interested in Sean Connery as, let's say, the more hipster-ish white Austin crowd.
So you got to find a way of switching him for Samuel L. Jackson.
Well, unfortunately, I did not. It did not occur to me to, in any way, try to adjust the joke at the time, so it didn't go over as well as I had hoped. And plus, I was still green and not used to, like, there was that was the Comedy Store on the main stage, which was at the time I was like a month and a half into comedy.
You said Laugh Factory?
No, it was the Comedy Store.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah.
Is that where you started your comedy, L.A.?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you hadn't thought of doing comedy until you went to L.A., or you had already been writing before you went to L.A.?
No, I hadn't thought of doing it before I went to L.A.
Okay.
People had told me every now and again, which, I mean, it was the same story for all comics that they should do comedy, but
I think most people get pushed into doing comedy by their friends, which was kind of my thing. That I just did voices and I had funny jokes and were really witty and lots of energy, and they were like, "You should really try this."
See, I had more of a, I guess, contrarian approach. Is that I didn't want to do it. My friends kept telling me that it probably would be a good idea.
Yeah.
And eventually I ended up trying it just out of frustration with acting and getting and day job stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Which I find is actually surprisingly common with comics. That if you did a checklist of what reasons did you have to do it, you check off the boxes for malice and spite and
revenge.
A lot of negatives.
Venting.
Yeah.
Venting. It's always good. Venting because of day job is normal. I find is a big one.
Yeah. Schadenfreude.
Yeah. Hate my dad.
Yeah.
It's almost like I feel like there should be a counselor at every open mic sometimes to go, all right, this guy actually has a problem. Need to go talk to him before something bad happens.
I think it would be simpler just to have somebody that said that, okay, this guy does not have a problem, and then you just handle the rest on the...
Just stamp this guy's cleared.
Yeah, you'd save a lot of time that way.
It probably would be easier to pick out the ones that are fine.
Yeah.
Is there... What's your least favorite comedy moment? You've been on stage and you just like, this was like a heckler or...
I did a show not too long ago at a bar on I think it was on or near St. Patrick's Day, and it was a bar that had like 3 stages. It was a very large and well furnished bar. It's sort of a pub type thing.
Oh, okay. It was shanty. It was like a shanty town.
Yeah. It had like 3 stages. At first I couldn't find which one we were going to be on because I couldn't find the host because I'd gotten there early. And then it turned out we weren't at any of them. There was like a area of like a raised area where normally tables would go that we got to get. But the problem was there was no like setup for the show or anything. And we were competing with like some sort of cook-off that was going on at the same time, and it was just a loud. Not really a particularly relaxed pub type atmosphere.
Yeah,
it's really more loud after the soccer match kind of thing, and we could not really ever get their attention. And I'm not like a big loud guy anyway.
Yeah.
And I tried my best, and it was really like nothing was connecting. Even if it was, I would never be able to hear it because of all the bar talk going around. And eventually, I just like quit like 3 minutes into the set. And
just walked away. No one even noticed you leave.
I don't know how many people noticed me leave, but I just walked right out the door. It was one of the more frustrating experiences I've ever had.
I've had there was one time, it was one of the first, I think it was the first show I did after getting off the Tonight Show. It was at one of the few places you could do comedy in Lufkin, Texas, where I was living. And I went there, and it was a nice stage. It would have been beautiful. It would have had like a nice like old timey, like swinging, like Sinatra feel. It was really nice stage, well lit, tables all around. And I promoted this like crazy. I think there was only like 10 people that showed up, so it wasn't bad at the time. But there was 10 people there that were for me, and then there was a little group over here that were having a birthday party, and they knew nothing about me, nor did they care.
Yeah.
And so like halfway in the middle of my thing, and I'm getting like a punchline. It's one of my better jokes. Out of the kitchen, this big cake comes out and just it goes between me, the stage, and the people that are actually there, and they're just immediately started just screaming "Happy Birthday," and I wanted to just dive into the cake and just body slam it like WWE style. I was so mad because they just been like talking and throwing stuff like, "Oh my gosh, it's the best!" It was like the whole time. Like nowadays, I could probably deal with that.
Yeah,
I'm to a point where I could probably deal with it. I don't set my expectation too high anymore. Like I almost set it ground zero, and so anything good that happens is an amazing day. That's how I set my thing. But at the time, I was just furious. I ended shortly after that. I was just so mad. And I even went over there to where they're having the happy birthday thing, and I was trying to like, hey, happy birthday, good, glad that you came out. And they're like, who are you? I'm the guy doing comedy. Oh, there was comedy? And I was like, that's it. And I just walked. I walked. Everything, the lights and the mic was still on. Just left. It was a beating.
See, the problem with body slamming into a cake is that who's the joke really on?
Especially if they have that cardboard center, that cardboard ring on the middle.
Yeah.
It gives it mass and stability. I just get cardboard right to the rib.
Yeah.
Yeah. And fire because it was lit. So So we're talking multiple types of injury.
Yeah, it's really like burning off your nose to spite your face.
Michael Jackson reference.
Yeah.
But yeah, what would be the best show you've ever done?
It's been like some good ones that I've really enjoyed.
You've done a couple with me.
Yeah. I would say probably they're in the top 100, but
out of the 90 shows you've done.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I have some like sentimental memories of, the first time I did the Cap City stage.
Oh, that's one of the best.
Yeah.
That's actually my favorite. I'm
yeah.
just going to say that.
It's really nice. Let's see.
Never had a bad show there.
It's hard to think of like one that really stands out for me. So I'll just say the first time I did like hosted at Cap City. So that was fun.
Nice. Was it we were hosting an open mic or hosting a showcase?
No, hosting for the headliner for that week.
Yeah, that's right. Right. Yeah.
In this case, it was John Heffron, who I believe won a year of Last Comic Standing. Very, very funny guy too. He did a lot of humor about I would say family humor, but it doesn't really describe it. It's not like super wholesome or anything. It's just about family.
Right.
So it was very endearing to the audience, but and still in its way kind of edgy and funny, and so
I would say one of my again every time I've done like the open mic or done any shows at Cap City, it's always been good. So it's kind of hard to pick, but I'd say the first time I did open mic at Cap City is up there in some of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
Because that was when I had no expectation at all. Nervous, first time, like being nervous, like first time doing stand up, and it went great.
Yeah.
And for a first time doing stand up comedy, it's very rare.
Yeah.
Of course, my second one was bomb. It was at a different club. It was in Houston, which that's just a sentence by itself right there. It's Houston. Shitty. Sorry. So that was one of my favorites, as I really enjoyed that. And then also the little bit that I got to do at the Tonight Show was also good.
I think so, yeah.
But that I didn't really get to do my bits because I prepared bits.
Yeah.
They told me I was going to have like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I prepared bits. And I was like, oh, it's going to be great. And they basically just had to condense it on the fly for the thing. They're like, oh, he's going to interview, he's going to talk to you, and then you get like a few seconds to do something. And I was like, so I just threw away. And it was kind of like heart-wrenching because, I've never gotten to do all those bits that I had planned.
Yeah.
And it was kind of kind of sad, but still it was great because I wasn't nervous at all. I love being in front of large groups. Anyway, did you have anything that you would want to see? If there was someone who's new to comedy, who's thinking about going to comedy, what would be some advice you'd give them before we end?
Seats taken. It's all full. Leave.
We have more than enough.
230 people signed up for this stupid contest this year. It's too many. Go.
Okay, not in Austin, Texas. There's way too many people in Austin, Texas. There's like 500 comedians in Austin, Texas.
Okay, outside of Austin, Texas, the more
in
the
the
merrier.
In the world.
Okay, then the more the merrier.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where you don't want to give too much advice just because everybody
everyone's different.
Everybody finds their own way, and as soon as you start laying down rules, somebody's gonna like, oh yeah, and then they just succeed and they didn't do any of your stupid rules.
Right. They're gonna be like Bill Burr, who just walks in, it's just amazing immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say in general, just be willing to be honest with yourself about what works and what doesn't.
Right.
And put in the time and effort that it takes to be your best, and that's about as far as I would go.
I would say very similar stuff. I would say don't get depressed and don't get mad at the audience. Like don't show your anger or frustration on stage. Despite what happens, just basically keep going, give it your all, and then just keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. See way too many new comics. Their joke fails, which is not anyone's fault except theirs. They like pretty much just came up with a premise and they're like, oh, I'm still working on this joke, and they say that on stage, and then they just get mad at the audience. Don't do that, because then you're just literally anyone who remembers you is just gonna keep backing away from you. So just keep coming up, be friendly, say what you want to say, and have fun. So that's what I would say.
I would recommend against having fun.
I would also, at the end of mine, I would also say don't do it. I would just completely, basically take back everything I say at the end of it, because it's a beating. It's hard. So anyway, thank you guys for listening to the first Funny Guy Timmy podcast. This is my guest, Luke McClory, a local comedian. You can find him basically anywhere. Not doing comedy, but I mean, you can just like walk the streets. You'll eventually run into him.
That would be physically impossible to find me everywhere.
I said anywhere. I said anywhere.
Okay.
Anywhere. Like like the moon. If we go to the moon, there's still a chance might.
I guess there is that uncertainty principle to work with.
There is the uncertainty principle. Always work with never work with absolutes. Always work with uncertainties. All right. So anyway, thank you guys for listening, and catch you later. Well, that's it for this episode. The royalty-free music on this podcast comes from Kevin MacLeod at incompetch.com. That is INCOMPETECH.com. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and keep your ear out for new episodes coming out regularly. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you later.